Hello, trading is closed on October 7th, 2022. We always do our disclaimer first, go over our predictions, and then make some calls. This is my trading plan for Monday, October 10th. Remember, I can be completely wrong. Any trade you make should be at your own risk. Also, if you're going to post something, post whatever you want. But if you break these rules, I'd say post whatever you want as long as you follow the rules. I've had to block a few people this week, and if you don't follow them, I will block you. Look for the pattern with the early low. This is it. Monday should also have the early low. We said the commonest thing was a gap and prompt move outside yesterday's range. That happened. We had strong support at 36.70, and that support failed. This is what we said. These are the patterns I expect to see next week. During the day, MEJT said this blip up wouldn't stick, said this drop down wouldn't stick. Those have already retraced. We had bar 13 to mark sequential buy signal earlier, but we counted it because he allows it to finish early. This is bar 13 without that caveat. So we now have a sequential buy as well as a combo buy. If this works, it's compatible with a bottom because it identifies overextended conditions. But if it fails in grand style. Today was also, I should say, F16 from the March 23rd, 2020 COVID low. This is Christopher Carolan's work. He takes an extreme in the market and calculates dates within a 3 to 6 day window where another extreme could occur. Not just because the date occurs, it doesn't mean an extreme will occur. But if there is an extreme, it tends to occur in one of his dates. So it's pretty uncommon that we have a DeMark buy signal and the Carolan potential change in trend date occurring on the same day. Of course, it doesn't mean it'll work, but if it works, we have things in alignment. But if it fails in grand style. We're still in his support zone on the weekly chart, but if the weekly close here falls by 1 cent, then support breaks and there could be a big drop. So we're kind of cutting it close here. Here's how I'm counting the daily chart. Nothing invalidates this count, but again, if this low falls, even though this could be an expanded flat, I think you certainly have to consider the possibility that that's not the end of gray C and there are much lower targets. It is possible to count this as 5 waves down, and wave 5 is equal to wave C, and this low is a target of the diamond on stilts. We've made another stilts. Here's half a diamond. If we go up like this, you've completed the diamond. You can certainly have back-to-back diamond on stilts, but I'm not claiming that's the only way to count this, even though the count works. There isn't if this is an ABC, there really isn't a Fibonacci relationship between these legs that I could find. There doesn't have to be, but usually there is. I mean, this could be an ABC, we could be making another A. There are any number of ways to count this. But if that's not the end of wave 5, if this falls, then there's probably some other way to count this. If this holds, it's a valid count and you should expect a pullback of some kind. We don't know if that's going to hold or not. Monday's pattern has the early low. It could still gap up. Typically Monday's a rally day, but if it's not, more weakness tends to follow in subsequent days. My 36.70 cash target failed. There was a lot of support there, so its failure has the potential to fail big time. Doesn't mean it will, but there could be some other number that works, but that's a disappointment. From a price perspective, it's possible to count the current decline as 5 waves down. A day-long decline couldn't manage a close under midday lows, so unless we gap and undercut these lows promptly on Monday, should see higher prices, but that doesn't mean we close higher. From a time perspective, Norm Winsky has a major change in trend this weekend based on his astrological work. He's consistently been 80% accurate. It's not 100, but it's pretty good. We completed bar 13 of a DeMark sequential buy signal. Today was also Carol Ann's F16 from the March 23rd, 2020 low. So if this low holds, you can explain it great. Things are lining up perfectly. All this makes gapping up possible Monday with today's low holding. And if that happens, the elements are there for a decent bottom. Don't forget there is some leeway with the timing indicators. DeMark stuff indicates the area of a low, not the exact price, and the Carol Ann stuff has a 3 to 6 day window. And there may be another way to count the current decline other than the one I show. But if we continue down with conviction, and particularly if the low of year falls significantly, the next targets I have are much lower. And we can't rule that out because we had a wall with gap at the low of the year. Here's a gap, here's a wall, here's a gap. We tend to undercut the low of this wall at some time. But if it doesn't happen in a day or two, it doesn't have to be anytime soon. You could have a huge rally and undercut this much, much later. But if that falls, a lot of this other stuff probably is going to fail big, and it's going to fail when these things fail. They fail big, and it's a disappointment that 36.70 didn't work. We're still within 1% of that price now, so it's not a huge failure, but usually when you have that much going for you, usually it's going to work. And even though we have these other timing indicators, you get kind of suspicious if they'll fail too. We still have a chance for this to hold and have a good rally from here, but if we keep on dropping and that falls, I don't have anything else close by in terms of price. So we'll have to see what happens Monday. It has the pattern with the early low. Usually it's a rally day. If it's weak, there's more weakness coming. So these current lows have to hold if we're going to get the rally. And that's today's call.